What's up, It's me, it's Krimson KB, and I've got a thought to share with you, you see. So, Shadowlands is a-coming, and pre-patch is on the way. Of course, we don't know when Shadowlands is dropping. I mean, it keeps, it's delayed until who the hell knows when. A lot of people figured it might be December or something like that. But, more and more reports are coming out that well, first of all, the whole reason it got delayed was because the game was just broken. I mean, it was broken. Like, stuff was not working. The Covenant abilities, I mean, just actual raid encounters, dungeon encounters, just abilities from your spellbook itself. Like, the game was broken, and the beta is still in a broken state from what a lot of the big boys and girls, WoW YouTubers are saying. A lot of it is still broken. And it kind of made me think, I spoke about this on my live stream last night while I was leveling a mage. It really made me think about the overall nature of World of Warcraft now, as far as like the gimmick of the game is concerned. And what I mean by that is every video game has its gimmick, I mean, this goes back to, video games back in the old days. Super Mario Brothers, the gimmick was get through levels, get the mushroom, grow big, defeat Koopa, wash, rinse, repeat. But that was a good game. The gimmick with Mega Man was defeat bosses, get abilities. The gimmick with Zelda is go through dungeons, get cool items, beat the boss, explore a big cool world and stuff like that. Try not to die, And, you jump ahead like in Skyrim, the gimmick is, more customization with your character, the talent system and whatnot, being able to dual wield weapons and magic. So, every video game has its gimmick. Even video game systems have their gimmick. Nintendo, out of everybody, being the most notorious for it with the Switch. And so it really got me thinking about the gimmicks in World of Warcraft and whatnot, and how, in my opinion, especially as a Battle for Azeroth and going into Shadowlands, just how oversaturated it is. Pardon me there. Because if you look back on it, going all the way back to vanilla and everything, the gimmick was basically just experiencing the game itself, exploring your world, doing your quests, picking out your talents, which, had heavy consequences to your choices, because re-rolling your talents was not a cheap thing. Getting into Burning Crusade, it was relatively the same, which is where I started and whatnot. It was relatively the same as far as leveling, questing, talent trees. The biggest, changes being, the additions of, Blood Elves and Draenor, going into a new world, everybody funneling into Hellfire Peninsula. But as far as the overall gimmick of the game itself, not a lot changed. It was just really refined a lot more as far as what they started in vanilla and then going into Burning Crusade as far as the overall nature of the game itself. Even Wrath of the Lich King, there wasn't a whole lot that changed. The big, I guess you could say, the big gimmicks of Wrath of the Lich King, the big gimmicks there were, I guess an emphasis on vehicle combat. And it was there, because it was something we'd certainly never seen up until that point. And if we did, it was in very small capacities. But there was a lot of focus on vehicle combat, whether it be Wintergrass, Eye of Eternity. I hate that, Ray. Even in Cataclysm, it really didn't change a lot. The biggest thing being that the world itself was changed by Deathwing himself and whatnot, which, honestly, I feel by that point, a change was fine, because, I mean, the game was about 6 going into 7 years old at this point. And again, a change was fine, in my personal opinion. And honestly, I like the way that so much of the world was changed, because it showed a natural evolution and a shift in time from where we were and where we are now. Again, the overall nature and gimmick of the game really did not change, except for more cookie cutter builds with talent systems, even though there are cookie cutter builds going all the way back to vanilla. Really, it wasn't until Mr. Pandaria where you saw the gimmick kind of start to shift a little bit, with You know, how they changed up the talent system, where they absolutely made the cloak that you got in there, the legendary cloak, even though it was neat, let's be honest, it was required. You know, like you really did. There was so much focus put behind that cloak throughout the game and whatnot, and you know, the gimmick being, you know, emphasis on Shah, you know, weapons, you know, early in Miss Pandaria, you know, the Shah gems and stuff like that, which again was fine. You know, it really didn't, in my opinion, it didn't hinder the game at all, and it was actually a nice addition to, you know, the confines of what was Mr. Pandaria. Honestly, really, that was fine. It really was. A lot of people, I didn't really see a whole lot of people complaining about that one, except, you know, those Shaw-infused weapons later on the expansion. They kind of petered out, and, you know, you moved on from them pretty quick. I mean, you really did. After Miss, this is where you kind of see the gimmicks get weird. Like, it starts to get weird, and it starts to, a lot of people are starting to go, Blizzard, what are you doing? You know? And what I mean by that is Warlords of Draenor, the expansion that pushed everybody away. Like, really was. It was the expansion that pushed everybody away, and let's just be honest, all it was just a promo for a movie that not a lot of people saw. And so, what was the gimmick of Warlords of Draenor? Well, it was the garrison. And it was the garrison and surrounding yourself in your safety circle that is the garrison. And this franchise that for so many years had encouraged you to go out and explore this massive, expansive world. And then you get into Warlords of Draenor, it's nope, stay in there. You don't have to move. This is where I saw like the big shift of, let's stuff as much as we can here, because it was the garrison and it was that damn ring. And then Legion happened, and Legion honestly is probably the most balanced expansion that they've ever done. Like, the class balancing, like, honestly, it was kind of astonishing to see how overall how balanced Legion was. It really was kind of astonishing, really, except for one big thing, and that was the RNG drops behind all of these legendary items. I mean, we were literally swimming in legendary items, and so it felt like legendaries just weren't special. But the gimmick behind that was their RNG drops. But there's always those two that are better than all the others. That means you could get a crap one and be stuck with that crap one, and you may never see another legendary drop for months, you know? But the other gimmick being, of course, the artifact weapons and the class hall. And honestly, the stuff with the class hall, the questing and the fantasy and the storytelling behind that, unbelievable. Paladins, warriors, death knights especially, druids, priests, amazing class hall fantasy and story and questing behind that. Like, that was incredible. The fact that the rogues did not have Ravenholt Manor. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell, man? That was an obvious one. That was obvious. Now, I know what people might say. Oh, you're a rogue and they stuck you in the sewer. Right where you belong. And then, of course, that leads into the artifact, which was the big gimmick of the expansion. And for the most part, the artifact was fine. It was a little bland. It was a little bland, you know, because everything was balanced. Everybody was balanced and whatnot. But at least you knew what you were working towards, as with, you know, and not, you know, it just being left up to how is RNGesus feeling today, you know. So for that, it was fine. And honestly, the artifacts were fine. You know, they made you feel powerful, and the abilities were pretty cool. You know, some were similar to others from other classes, but overall, the artifact was fine. And that was the big gimmick of Legion, and it was fine. And then BFA happened. First of all, they kick us in the nuts by taking our artifact weapons away and making them useless. Then they throw in the Heart of Azeroth, the necklace. Then they throw in Azerite traits and having to farm those and build those up. Then they threw in the cloak and the corruption system. and all the farming and everything else. Then there's the vision stuff, which had its own set of talent trees and whatnot. It's just like, it was too much. It was too much. There was so much they crammed to that. And the last thing I mentioned, the cloak and the corruption system and all that, that was all just one patch. When in truth, Nyalotha and the corruption system and all of that stuff, that should have been its own expansion. And that way they could have had a whole expansion to like weave this corruption system and the cloak and all that. They could have spent a whole expansion weaving, you know, that out and spreading that out and making it even more interesting and whatnot. But nope, they just shoved it into a last patch, and N'Zoth went out like a bitch. And then coming up in 3 days, this corruption system's over. Congratulations, you had the corruption system for a couple of months now. You know, that's great. You know, and the thing is, it will probably be forgotten. You know, because Shadowlands is coming up, the Covenant system's coming up, and from a lot of people are saying with that, oh God, you know, and thankfully they fixed this, you know, with Covenant abilities not working outside their zones. Again, thankfully they fixed that. Covenant abilities outdoing every other ability in your spell book, which is like, what the crap? What's the point of the rotation then? Just do this one thing, you know, but whatever, you know, there's a lot of more in depth with that, you know. It's just like, I don't understand why Activision Blizzard thinks with modern WoW, with retail WoW, why they have to sandwich all these things in, these gimmicks, when in truth, it's really not that complicated. It's the experience of exploring a world, doing the quest, advancing a story now that wasn't there in vanilla, and you know, gradually they add it in as time goes by. Yeah, working towards something cool is fine, but when you base all of that, when you shove all of that to the side, you know, the leveling, the progression, the fact that the experience is the journey and the journey is the experience, which was the original point of World of Warcraft, you know, your character's experience, that is the journey. Well, that's not the journey anymore. It's all about what's the cool, flashy little gimmick that we got going on here, you know? Like with Shadowlands, with these talents that you can pick and choose and whatnot at your own discretion, which on paper sounds fine, but from what a lot of people are saying, it's like, it's not meshing very well, and that is concerning. God bless those devs actually working on this thing. They are, I gotta give them, they're working overtime. You know, I really do. I hope that it pays off for them. I really do. So there's kind of my thoughts on the gimmicks of WoW and whatnot, and kind of how far we've come, and kind of a little rant about that and whatnot. So I don't know. You tell me what you think about the gimmicks of WoW, or you know, where we've come from and where we're at, and what do you think going into Shadowlands with the Covenant abilities and whatnot. You tell me in the comments below. But thank you nonetheless for watching my video today. Hit that like button if you like what you saw. Subscribe if you want to see more. Click the bell. Click the bell. For the love of God, click the bell, because then you won't know when there is more. So click the bell, Batsy. And of course, follow me on Twitter and follow me on Twitch for live streams, because we have fun, baby, even when we're ranting about WoW. Either way, you have a wonderful, shway day, baby, and I'll see you later.